Hello everyone, welcome to another of our lessons. Today is June the 17th, 2018, Sunday, June 17, 2018. It's a very special day. And what's special about the day? Special because today is Father's Day. So I want to wish everybody in the class, including myself, happy Father's Day. I'm a grandfather. Indeed, I have 9 grandchildren. And I'd like to wish us all happy Father's Day. I'd like to ask you, as a father, be a good father to the family. Be a good husband to your wife and be a good father to your children. But today's lesson is about how we use ICT in the writing of our doctoral thesis. Recall that over the last several weeks, months, we have been looking at how we use ICT for the title, how we use ICT for the proposal, how we use ICT for literature review, how we use ICT for the methodology, data collection, and report writing. We're now report writing. So remember that the title of this course is ICT in the doctoral research process, from title to thesis. So we're coming towards the end of the lessons in the course. We are now going to be looking at ICT in writing doctoral thesis or dissertation. So let's get to class. Yeah, so welcome back to class. And as you can see from this, we are going to climb to the top when we get our PhD, when we complete writing the doctoral thesis and finish defending it. So, what will be the objectives of this lesson? Lesson number 8. 2 of them. We're first going to identify the major ICT tools that we can use when we are writing a doctoral thesis. And then the second thing is we are going to describe the use of the tools as we go to the summit, as we approach the top. But just before we begin, let me thank you for all that you have done in doing your end of course project and in submitting your report, end of course report. You did very well in spite of the short notice. As you can see here, these are the reports that you submitted. I can go to Alois. These are the reports, very nice. You all did very well. By the timetable for this week, I've started marking along with somebody else, one of the facilitators. So you should be getting your reports very soon. Fred, this is yours because we had the pilot story report, the abstract, and the data sheet. So I want to congratulate you all for successfully completing the end of course project. Also, before we begin, some members of the class had asked in one of the lessons about the difference between thesis and dissertation. It depends on the tradition in which you are coming from, or which your university has decided to focus on or adopt. They are both the same. The thesis, something that you write to get a degree, higher degree, dissertation, the same. But you see, the Europeans in Europe, for the master's degree, it is usually dissertation. And for the PhD, it's usually the thesis. Now, it's reversed in the US, where the master's is the thesis and the dissertation is the PhD. This is just general rule, not that everywhere you have this kind of classification. Nigeria, where I am based, that's me, your facilitator, we adopt the European model and we call it the thesis. That is why I've been referring to this as a thesis. University of Burundi may wish to settle for any of this. The long and short of it all is that it is a document, a report, which you submit to support your candidature for an academic degree or professional qualification. Now, that is based on your research and findings. So, the thesis, in our case here, in the case of this course, is for the doctorate. So why do you want to write a thesis? Of course, a number of you have scholarships and a number of you have enrolled for this course so that you do two things. One, to advance knowledge, contribute to knowledge. But, you know, to get this doctor is so nice. As we have agreed in the class, we know you are going to get a doctorate. So we have been referring to you as doctor. So to have doctor to your name is a very wonderful thing. It will open doors. People will respect you. Ooh, Dr. Richard, Dr. Alois, Dr. Clement. Oh, they will regard you, respect you a lot more. So you can see it's so nice to the ears to say Dr. Abba, Dr. Akkad, Dr. Awa, Dr. Bahimana, Dr. Bafunya, Dr. Batungwanayo, Desire, Dr. Mbonabuka, excuse me. Henry is here. So it's nice, you know, to have that doctorate by your name. Yeah, so if we'll now go back to our objective number 1, which is to look at the ICT tools that you can use when you are writing your doctoral thesis. We're going to have them in 2 groups, hardware and the software. There are many of these, but I'm just going to pick 2. We'll look at a laptop, because see, when you were writing your end of course project, which will be like your thesis at the end of the day, but something quite more, a lot more expansive, you use your laptop, and of course you can use your smartphone. And for software, you use the word processing software, and you can also use voice to text and handwriting to process to text. So we have picked the hardware, the ICT tools, hardware to be laptop and smartphone, and then software to be majorly the one for word processing, voice to text, handwriting to processing to text. So that's the list. Let's go to objective number 2. How do we use them? How do we use the hardware and the software? You know, we talked about the laptop. For the laptop, I like to recommend that you get a random access memory or RAM that's minimum 4, but I like it to be 8 gigabytes to give you a lot of room. If you have images, if you are doing some analysis, this will be nice. And to have some storage, like about 500 gigabytes of hard disk drive. But I like the solid state drive, about 256 gigabytes. But this is very expensive though. If you have the SSD, it's better. It has a longer life. It doesn't crash. It's not susceptible to crashing if it hits the ground. If your machine hits the ground. And the operating system, we do say if you are using a Mac and iOS, and the processor speed about this 2.4 gigahertz, it can be less, say for a Celeron processor. But don't mind, whatever your pocket can afford is fine. But note that you do not want to buy a laptop where you want to write your thesis that you will end up losing your data and slowing your word processing or slow your analysis. That is why I've given you this as some kind of minimum in the use of the hardware for the laptop. Now let's take on the smartphones. Now there are several smartphones here. Smart in the sense that they're smart. They can do all manner of things for you. They have memory that can recall a number of things, and you can use this. There are several apps, several software that you have here, for free, that you will use for your for writing your thesis. So let's go to the software. The major one that you'll be needing for your thesis is word processing, just like the one you used for your for the end of course project. So you can use Microsoft Word or any word processing. You have OpenOffice, which is a free processing software. All of these are fine, so long as you can use it for word processing. And then you have speech to text dictation software. You see, if you are somewhere in the field, or you go, or you remember in the evening or in the morning, early in the morning, you can speak to your computer, and it will put it in. It will, rather than you typing it, it will come to you speech to text. And then you have many of this now. That your smartphone, you can just take a stylus and write, and you convert it to, it will convert. You write on it to convert it to text. So you don't need to type this thing all over. A few errors there which you can easily correct. I use this quite often. I use this speech to text quite often. I just talk to it, and in fact, you can. I think I have a dictaphone, something. Oh no, it's not this one. It's not here. Here that. Yeah. So this is the device. It's a recorder, and you can transfer what you have recorded to text. So what have we learned in this lesson? We have listed some hardware and software tools. As you notice, I said some, because there are several others. But these are the ones that are common, the ones that PhD students or candidates use all over the world, that they mostly use for writing doctoral thesis. I will describe the use of the tools. So for our next lesson, we shall be looking at I'll be giving you some important tips for writing doctoral thesis. Until next week, it is bye for me, and enjoy the rest of the week.